So Jason, of course, they make a lot of things here, but one of the things that they make is body armor and other protective equipment. And I think maybe I'll have to take some to Kamala Harris. For every time she does a softball interview, she wants to wear some body armor. And on that topic, you know, the best thing maybe that we have going for us is, other than, of course, the record of Donald J. Trump when he was in office. Remember, we had low inflation, we had rising take-home pay, we had a secure southern border, and we had the world, which was peaceful and stable. That's a pretty good thing to run on. We just want to get back to it. But the other real advantage that we have in this race, ladies and gentlemen, is that Kamala Harris keeps on opening her mouth and saying things. And that is helping us a whole lot. It's funny. They decided to change their strategy a couple of weeks ago because, I guess their poll numbers weren't looking good or they feel like they didn't have much momentum. But they decided to put Kamala Harris out there more and more. Now, she's only doing these softball interviews. But do we have any baseball fans in here? We have a few. As you all know, the problem with a softball interview is you still got to be able to hit a softball. And unfortunately for Kamala Harris, every time that she does an interview, she makes our case for us. And I got to be honest with you, I almost feel bad for Governor Tim Walz. I'm the only person in the room that feels bad for Governor Tim Walz. Because think about it. I got the easiest job in American politics. I got to go around and just remind the American people that Donald Trump delivered rising take-home pay and low inflation. That's a pretty easy job. Governor Walz has to go around and somehow convince the American people that Kamala Harris is going to solve the very problem she's been creating over the last 3.5 years. That is tough. We should feel bad for him. We should say a prayer for Governor Tim Walz because that is a tough, tough job. But here's the reality, is that under Kamala Harris's policies, she cast the deciding vote on trillions of dollars of new spending, and thanks to that decision, Arizonans are paying $1,000 more per month to buy what they could have bought when Donald Trump was president. That's over $12,000 a year. Thanks to Kamala Harris's policies, Arizona is dealing with one of the worst housing crises we've ever seen in this state, and we see it all across the United States of America. And thanks to Kamala Harris's policies, Arizona is maybe feeling it the worst. The wide open border, the drugs, the crime, and the sex trafficking, it's because of Kamala Harris. So, when she stands before the American people and says, on day one, we're going to tackle the affordability crisis, or on day one, we're going to secure that southern border, our response to Kamala Harris needs to be, day one was 1,400 days ago. Kamala, what the hell have you been doing the whole time? Go do your job. Now, we know, of course, that the people who are hit the hardest by Kamala Harris's terrible policies are very often those who can least afford to pay an extra $100 to go to the grocery store or pay a few hundred extra dollars in rent per month. And, of course, we know that a lot of our senior citizens, are the ones who are living on a fixed income, are the ones who have been hit the hardest by Kamala Harris's inflation. So here is what Donald Trump is going to do. Two big things for our senior citizens in Arizona and all across the country. First of all, we are going to fight to lower grocery and housing prices for all of us. We're going to get back to an affordable American nation. And the second thing, and especially for our seniors, is that Donald Trump, we're going to eliminate taxes on Social Security so that our seniors can afford to live a good life. Now, a lot of you know a little bit about my story. I care about this a lot because, of course, I love our senior citizens, but I also was, in fact, raised by my grandmother because my mom struggled with opioid addiction for a big chunk of my early life. Now, I'm very proud of my mom. She's been clean and sober for 10 years, ladies and gentlemen. That is a great blessing and a good thing. But because I was raised by my grandmother, I know what it's like when our grandmothers and our grandparents are forced to try to make ends meet when everything is getting more expensive. And I think a lot of our grandparents are just saying, could we get a little bit of help? could you make it easier to afford the things that I need to buy rather than harder? And that's what Donald Trump and I are going to do. Fight for you every single day. We're going to make groceries more affordable. We're going to make housing more affordable. We're going to make the American dream more affordable.